Well, hello, this is Yvonne Teoh Bource from Connect the Soul with your soul wisdom for the week of October 15th. Well, here we are again. I hope you had a fantastic week. Spring is my favorite time. I say that every year because it's like life just bursts forth in every direction. And I posted on Facebook the other day saying that, for me, it's like the time when life becomes tangible. You can actually see life in action in spring, in every tree, in every shrub, and in the animals that are producing young. It's just a wonderful time of year. So, absolutely no reason for any of us not to feel fabulous and connected and ready to live and to, what I always say, surf the wave of energy into the new. So then it's interesting that the subject that I am choosing for this week is this wonderful term, two little words that can bring us down and does bring us down continuously, and that is what if. I'm an insatiable optimist. I always have been. I've always had this intrinsic driving force that pushes me towards a better place, towards the light. And that was very necessary for my survival, I guess, emotionally as well as physically, because of my early childhood experiences in wars. And so everything around me was just so dark that I needed I guess for air, I needed to constantly look for any sign that I could brighten someone's, that I could say to my parents, yes, but this is really, there's this lovely thing and there's that lovely thing. And I guess, and I've mentioned it before, to the point when my brother was attacked by a shark and had his leg bitten off, and I said to my mum, when I had to tell her that her precious son was no longer complete, and I looked at her and I said, yes, Mum, but it's okay because he's still got both his arms, because he was a musician as part of who he was. And so she looked at me absolutely stunned and said, well, that's really taking your optimism to a whole new level. But it was just me. I always have to look for something that is going to brighten things up for me and for the people around me. And what I noticed lately is that most people aren't like that. In fact, that most people have a condition, what I call the what ifs. We as a humanity are really scared of change. I'm not. I love change. I think it's great, but most people aren't. And the reason that we're afraid of change is because of the unknown. We have no idea of what's going to happen next. Well, I find that exciting, but most people find it terrifying because we are such control freaks. We want to know what's going to happen next. The thing about that is that uncertainty is the greatest certainty of life. You don't know what's going to happen in the next moment, which takes me to the place that you better make this moment count. So I was observing people to see how these two little words, what if, were being used all the time. So, when you have something that you want to make a decision, right? We have to make a decision whether to do this or we need to do that. And we start to pre-play these tapes. If I do that, then that could happen. We're not sure that will, but we could, because we have such a vivid imagination. And then if I do that thing, then that could happen. But what if? What if it doesn't? And what if something bad happens? What if somebody comes and steals me things? What if somebody comes and takes my job? What if I take this holiday and I come back and my job's gone? What if, we do it all the time, and it's always a downward spiraling of what if. When we are in a place of making a decision, the what ifs from where I'm sitting in observation of people is 99% what if a disaster occurs, or what if I make the wrong decision, or what if the world ends, or what if the clouds fall from the sky. I don't know. Well, there are two things about that that really bother me. I guess the first one is that I don't like living in fear. And the second thing is that I'm a true believer that I'm the creator of my reality. So why would I create a what if that's going downwards? Why not say, well, this is fantastic, this is absolutely good, because I know that we are going to have a wonderful time. Why are we going to have a wonderful time? Because I'm the creator. I create a beautiful day every day, and it doesn't depend on the weather. It depends on my state of mind. Because I have no control over the outside world, but I have every control over me and how I address the outside world. And because I know how this universe works, because I know that this conscious intelligence, that I'm a magnet to whatever lives, which is infinite opportunities and possibilities in the consciousness, that if I send out these wonderful thoughts and these high vibrational frequencies, then my outside world is going to align with that. So all of my what ifs are upward spiraling. I say, what if the best is going to happen? Well, isn't that what I ask for every day? This or something better? And then when the better comes, I'm just grateful. But it stuns me. I was watching a little sitcom the other day, and there was a character in that had to make some choices. And she wanted something really badly, but she was so terrified that if she actually was going to reach for it, that the idea of it not being what she wanted or being rejected was so terrifying that she couldn't move forward. She couldn't go and make the decision to do or to go after what she really wanted. Well, my question to you is, how often do you do that in your life? How often do you play the game of what if, and the what if is so frightening to you that you actually don't move forward to where you could actually find joy and happiness, just in case you get rejected or it isn't going to happen the way you would like it? How many times in your life do you do that? I've played that game. Oh boy, I've played that game. Do you know, I played that game a lot with money in the past. I used to play that game when I had my children going to private school, and I was, sole parent, and I found it all very challenging at times. And, I played the what if game of, what if I can't pay the rent this month? What if I can't pay the school fees? What if I can't find the money for my next child's excursion, which were always expensive? But, somehow it always turned up. And that taught me that if I let go of the what if and turned the what if the other way up, and I went, what if things are just going to be okay? Wouldn't that feel better? What if? And then people would say, yes, but money doesn't fall out of the sky. Well, I've, in another video also, I shared a lovely story of being at a basketball game with some friends and asking this friend if she'd like an ice cream and at interval. And of course, whenever you go out anywhere like to these places, things always cost more than average. And she said, oh no, they're far too expensive. I'm not having it because, money. And I said, well, just have an ice cream. And she goes, no, she said, money doesn't just fall out of the skies. And with that, plop, in my lap fell $2. Now, we were members, so we were down the bottom of the stadium, and of course, obviously, someone had stood up somewhere above us, wherever, and dropped a $2 coin, and it just fell in my lap. And I went, well, sometimes, would you like an ice cream? And I just laughed. Because you see, my vibration was telling her, yes, that could happen. Her vibration was, of course, stunned. So it's important to understand that whatever you focus your attention on, you become a magnet to. So if all of your what ifs are imagining the worst scenario, then you miss the best scenario. I don't want to miss the best scenario. So my what ifs are, well, what if I get something better than that? Because I'm in my limited thinking. I can't conjure up all the wonderful ways things can come to my life. So I always add, this or something better. I'd like that, or this or something better. I may have to make a decision to do that or that. Well, I want the best one, so show me which way to go. And and what happens if I go there and it doesn't work out? Then I instantly tune in and go, well, obviously there is something better around the corner because that one didn't work out. And then I look for the better bit. Well, that's the way that I've always managed it. So if you are someone who is a what-if person and always thinks of the worst, I love people who come and drive in my car. I belong to a walking club, and I often drive where we're going. And I park the car, and I can't tell you how many people say to me, oh, you've got to put your nav man, away, because what if somebody comes in once and steals it? And I'm going, what if they don't? And it's that, don't leave your bag on the table, because what if somebody comes and steals it? And I go, they're not going to steal it, because my vibrational frequency is not a magnet to that. But they might steal yours if you leave yours, because your vibrational frequency is a magnet to that. And I think when we really understand the basic principle of that, then we start to become a little bit more aware, and we can drop the what ifs downward, and we go, but what if? Instead of, but what if? So those two words are very powerful in our vocabulary. They're very pertinent. If you are constantly looking for this, the other shoe to drop, or whatever they call that, stop it. Start looking for the great things in life. And the first step for you to stop doing the what ifs downward spiraling is to look around what you've got already with gratitude and going, but look at my life. Look at how wonderful. And if your life isn't wonderful, then look at yourself and going, what am I focusing on? Am I focusing on the not wonderfulness, or am I looking every day to find something to be grateful for, or something to feel positive and uplifted by? The best way to do that is to give. Now, I know I talk a lot about being open to receive, but you see, they're two sides of the same coin. And so give away what you have. And we all have a smile. And we all have kindness. And we all have the ability to support somebody, to have a nice word to say to somebody. Those things don't cost much. One of my friends the other day said she went to go and have a coffee, and she went to go and pay for it, and the person said, no, I think she actually went through the McDonald's because she was in a hurry, and she went through to get her coffee. And when she went to pay for it, the girl said, oh no, you don't have to pay for your coffee. The gentleman in front just paid for whoever was coming behind him to pay for the coffee. And it's lovely things like that. Have you thought about that? When you next go to a cafe, pay for an extra coffee for whoever comes next. It's just such a simple thing to do. And guess what? You become a magnet to receiving. So if you feel your life is in lack, give away something that you have that's easy to give, like a smile, like a kindness, like, doing some shopping for somebody, like a kind word, ringing a friend, and taking them out. I love taking my friends out for breakfast or lunch or dinner, because it just feels good. And guess what? I'm constantly being taken out for breakfast and lunch and dinner because I'm a magnet to that. The what if that takes you down is not who you are, it's a conditioning. If you were brought up with parents or with minders that were always frightened of making the wrong decisions, they were always frightened of rejection, were always frightened of change, then you were indoctrinated with that. I'd like you to look at yourself and go, well, which one of those three are holding me back from living a fabulous life filled with contentment and inner peace and love and abundance? Life's abundant. It's constantly giving to us. But we have to be at the right level of vibrations to receive it or to be magnetic to it. So it's really important for you. And I'd love you to put some comments down underneath in the comment section to tell me how you have allowed your what ifs to stop you from doing some wonderful things. I was looking at a time in my life where I didn't behave as well as I would certainly have behaved with all the knowledge I have today. And I don't do it with blame or regret. I do it with observation and interest. And I often think, what if I had a mobile phone in those days? It would have been a totally different story. But there wasn't a mobile phone in those days, so the story is what it is, and it's okay. But they're what ifs. Ooh, okay. They're interesting what ifs. They don't go down or they don't go up. Well, they could go down if I regretted it, but I don't, because it's made me who I am today. Every step that you take in life, every decision that you make in life adds another pearl to your string. It makes you who you are today. And if you're not happy with that, then examine it and change your perception and embrace yourself and go, but you know what? I'm here. And I'm learning every day. I'm learning to become more empowered. I'm learning to make different choices. And I'm learning not to beat myself up when I zig when I should have zagged. Because you know what? If you really needed to have zagged, you would have. So make the zigging a learning experience that will then return you back to the zagging if that's what you want. That is ridiculous English. However, I hope you're still with me. So make your choices with an understanding of, I am not sure of whether this choice is going to work out for me, because we never are. But you know what? I'll make the most of wherever it takes me. And I ask for that or something better. And because I'm a magnet to the something better, I step forward with trust. Yes, that would be great. So, my suggestion to you is to drop what if altogether. Don't use it, either up or down. Just go for it. Go for that which is becoming a desire. If you have an idea, it means that the idea is born from a seed within you that will allow it to come forth if you will look after it and plant it. But if you never plant the seed, it can't grow. And if you're too afraid to plant the seed because of all your what ifs, then you're never going to experience the fullness of yourself. And that would be sad. So, no more what ifs. And if you have to use them, what if something miraculous comes forward? What if my life is a continuous synchronistic path of miracles? Well, that's basically most of my life. I love it. I love it. The weirdest things occur. Yesterday I'm sitting in the garden and I'm looking up at my Japanese maple is desperately trying to grow leaves because it had been destroyed by possums last year. And I looked up at it and I looked around my beautiful garden and I thought, well, my gardener really needs to come and do a little bit of work. And I didn't have the thought out of my mouth, and my phone pinged and there was a message. Okay, if I come on Tuesday. And I'm like, oh, I love this. I just love living like this. It's like instant. So that's the magical path. But you know, to live like this, it takes courage. And I've talked about courage before. And funnily enough, when I looked for a card to substantiate my discourse this week, I picked the card of courage, of course. So these are the now cards that I use, that all my students use, that I actually bought in Bali when I was doing one of my retreats. And just while I'm mentioning retreats, we have just had 2 people pull out of the May retreat, May 16th to the 23rd of 2019. So if you're interested, just go to the retreat link in the description box and read all about it and contact me, and I will give you all the further details. It's 30 weeks before the next retreat. So have a look at that. Absolutely magnificent 7 days to really connect to soul. So courage. A flower is so delicate, yet has the courage to exist and to give unconditionally its fragrance in complete trust and surrender. Can you imagine if you were a flower and you're all in a bud and you're sitting there? What if when I come out there's hail? What if I come out it's frosty? What if I come out I can't? You know, they don't. They just come out. Deal with what comes when they're out. Okay, what if it's bright sunshine and I can shine in my full glory? What if that? You are being called to embrace this courage within yourself. The results are unknown, always unknown. The results are always unknown. You are facing great odds and everything might be at risk. Who knows? When you have the courage to be totally yourself, not the inauthentic self that other people have made you, but when you're true to your heart's desire. A deep synchronicity with life empowers and embraces you into the full blossoming of your being. I love this card. Courage can mean to fight, sometimes, or it can take great courage to surrender to what is. You know, in our spiritual book club, we're reading a beautiful book called Radical Acceptance by Tara Back, I think her name is. And I'm loving it. It is about total acceptance and surrender and synchronicity. And that's how this field of consciousness operates. So when you're aligned with it, that's how your life operates. Be as the flower. Discover the courage to be totally yourself. You might like it. You might even love it. You know, don't let the what ifs stop you from being all that you are meant to be during this lifetime. I have it happen so often. So often I have clients that come to me and I say, look, you know, you're so unhappy where you are. Why don't you just change? Yeah, but what if I don't have enough money to pay the mortgage? And what if I don't have, and what if I don't have, and what if this happens? And I just look at them and I just go, well, deal with it. I don't believe in the what ifs disaster. I believe in whatever choice you make is an opportunity for growth. Whatever experience you have is an opportunity for growth. And you have the power to change your perception, to change your thoughts, to change your action. You are a power pack, so why would you ever be frightened of the outside world? And remember that when you are vibrating at that higher frequency and you're a magnet to all of that, then all the lower frequency fears that you had, they can't even see you. They can't even reach you. I know what I've chosen, and I love it here. And I invite you to join me. So, if you would like to know more about my work, go into the description box and see all the links that take you to my programs, my retreats, the spiritual book club, personal life coaching sessions, and so much more. And then I will see you next week. Have a great, great time getting rid of your what ifs. Namaste. Love yourself more.